Man, my face is sweaty and hold up, have a lot to talk about. Today I'm going to be talking about something that a lot of people are not going to agree with, or something a lot of people are going to agree with. A lot of people are kind of 50-50 about Snape. They think either he's high and mighty or he's terrible. But today I'm going to be sharing my opinion on why I think Severus Snape is not that great. Because I have a lot of stuff a lot of reasoning, or a lot of, maybe not like a whole lot of like depth into it, but I have some reasons why I think Snape isn't a great teacher and why he shouldn't get all the love and attention he gets. It is beyond cruel that Snape gets all the attention he gets when other characters deserve a lot more attention, because people just forget about them because of Snape or because of Malfoy, who was also very overrated, which I should talk about that in another video. But for now, we're going to be talking about why Snape isn't as great as everyone says he is. To start off with, people are going to say, Snape, like, the reason he's so bad is because, like, of the fact that he hates James and he always loved Lily. But I don't care what Snape had, like, what feelings he had for Lily. That doesn't excuse the fact of what all the other terrible things that he did. And okay, yes, he had a grudge against Harry's father, but that still doesn't excuse him for treating Harry the way he does. It doesn't matter that Harry looks like James. It doesn't matter if he even remotely acts like him, even though he doesn't. You shouldn't get mad at somebody for what somebody else did. That's like if I got mad at you because of something that your friend did. You didn't do it. So, like, that I can't just get mad at you for something that somebody else did. And he does this to Harry all the time. He gives him detentions. He takes points away from Gryffindor for no reason, all because Harry's dad is James. And this is so biased, and it should not be allowed as a teacher. The fact that Snape gets away with this is actually so ridiculous that I don't even know why he got to be at Hogwarts for so long. Oh wait, I do. It was because he's a triple agent. A lot of people will like say that it was okay for Snape to treat Harry the way he did because in the end he still saved his life. But I think that is going too far. Some of the things that Snape said to Harry wasn't fair. He still said things bad about Harry's dad right in front of him, and Harry's dad is dead. You do not say something bad about someone's dead parents right in front of them. Especially since Harry's dead parents is something that's very hard for Harry to get over anyways. And Harry sometimes, I feel like, blames himself. So for Snape to say some of the things that he did, like in his occlumency lessons about his dad, was like beyond cruel and not like at all respectful. And it was very like rude. And you should not treat a minor like that. You should not say things that Snape did to Harry, because Snape is a full-grown man. He's 30 so years old, and Harry is 11 to 17 years old, and he still says some of those things to Harry, and that is just so, like, rude and so cruel and so just pathetic to say some of the things that Snape did say to Harry. I can't even, like, unfathom why he would say those things to Harry. Or to Hermione. In Goblet of Fire, Hermione had gotten her teeth enlarged, like they were growing rapidly because of Draco, who accidentally hit Hermione rather than Harry. And Snape just was being so rude about it. He was like, I don't see a difference. And it hurt Hermione really bad. And he couldn't have cared less. And that is so rude for Snape to just do to one of his students. I get that Snape is very biased towards his Slytherins and he loves them, or cares about them or wants them to win, so he gives them more points. Okay, you shouldn't do that as a teacher, but whatever. But to say what he did to Hermione, I think is just kind of just beyond to just talk about someone like that. That really hurts Hermione's feelings, and I feel like Hermione's a very sensitive person, and you can't just like say that to somebody and just get away with it. And people that like it's stuff like this that I don't get why Harry Potter fans will defend Snape so openly, because Snape isn't that great of a character at all. He's very cruel, and he does a lot of things that people just excuse his behavior like it's nothing, and it's not. Like, you can't just treat people like that. And then there's the fact that he treats Ron the way that he does. Like, okay, Ron, sometimes he treats Ron bad, but he was still pretty rude to Ron for, like, no reason, because Snape was being dumb himself. Like, he got mad at Hermione for giving him an answer, and then he gave Ron detention for it, and I just don't understand where he has this logic. I know that he likes to make people miserable, but I still feel like that is just completely unfair, and I just don't understand, like, why he does it so much. And not to mention, that's not all he's done that is so bad. Like, what about the way that he treated Neville? Like, people will say, like, he treated Harry bad because of his dad. But he had no reason to treat Neville like that. Neville was just an innocent student, just doing what he was just trying to get his work done, and Snape would just totally like talk trash on him and would just totally be so rude and so disrespectful to Neville for no reason at all. And like, Neville really didn't deserve any of that hate. Neville was just doing and trying his best to get through school, and Neville was already like not very like talented, and so like when someone would tell him how untalented he was, that would obviously hurt his feelings beyond anything. And the worst part of it is that like Neville had a lot of fears, but Neville's greatest fear was Snape, his teacher, because of how rude Snape was to Neville. You should not say things like that, and just to a minor, someone who you are twice above their age. And Neville had already been through so much, and Snape most likely, and I'm going to assume that he knew that, because it was like, his parents, like, you probably know, Neville's parents were tortured into insanity, okay? And Snape was probably, like, heard of this because he was a double agent, so he would have heard about Neville's parents being tortured this way. And then Neville gets treated this way, and I don't know if Snape hates Neville so much because, like, his parents could have been the ones that got killed instead of Lily, and but that's still like so rude and so evil. Like, to wish someone else died because you are in love with somebody that will never love you back, that is just beyond to me. Like, to treat a student, an innocent bystander, the way that Snape did, I can't even like understand at all why Snape was so rude to Neville. It just makes me so frustrated. And yeah, Snape did do a lot of good in the series. He saved Harry, Ron, and Hermione countless times. But that doesn't mean that he should just, all his mistakes should just be thrown down the drain like it was nothing. Because it wasn't nothing. Just because somebody was good, like, for certain things doesn't mean that everything they did that was bad can just be excused. That doesn't mean that when Snape was, like, all the people that I'm assuming Snape did kill when he was a Death Eater, that doesn't mean that he should just be forgiven for that. People's lives were ended because of Snape, and people are just going to be like, you know what? He did the right thing in the end. That's not how it works. Just because somebody ended up doing the right thing, I mean, it doesn't always mean certain things. And I guess, okay, in the Percy Jackson universe, there were a lot of characters that, like, are forgiven because they ended up doing the right thing. But I feel like their story was different than Snape's. Snape still treated people like garbage for no reason, whereas like Luke Castellan and Selena Beauregard, they did do wrong things, but they did it because they thought it was the right cause. Snape was a Death Eater. He probably knew it was a bad cause. And even when he turned to the good side, he still did bad things. He still treated Neville terribly. He still treated Harry terribly. He treated Hermione like he treated all these students terribly, and he was apparently on the good side. It's different to me, and I just feel like, in the end, like, I don't know. I just feel like Snape is treated with too much love, and he doesn't deserve all the love that he gets. There's my favorite character, Sirius Black, is quite underrated, and I feel like people just totally forget about him. And yes, I get that he was a bully at school, but Snape is a full-grown bully, and they get mad at James and Sirius for something they did as a kid. Yet Snape treats Harry and Neville the way that James treated Snape. And it's like, so we're gonna forgive Snape for things that he did as an adult because he was a double agent, but we're not gonna forgive James and Sirius for what they did because they didn't work. I don't know, like people just get so mad at them for no reason, and like, okay, I get it, they were really cruel to Snape, but they were just teenagers, and they ended up not doing it, at least not as much, because of Lily. And so I think that should at least count for something. They ended up becoming really good people in the future, and they still did a lot of good in the world, and people just ignore that because of their love for Snape. Like people just love Snape so much that they're gonna hate other characters for it. And I will never understand why. Look, Snape has great, like, sassy lines. I get it. I get how those lines can be comedic, but you gotta remember that he's not such a great guy. And his love for Lily, let's face it, is quite creepy. I mean, seriously, Lily died, like, what? 16 years ago in Deathly Hollows. So, like, 10 years ago by the time Sorcerer's Stone happened. Well, there's no way he's gonna ever be with Lily. And before that, she was married, and he still loves her and was being sort of creepy about it. So I just feel like it was kind of stupid for Snape to be rude to Harry or to James. Like, that was something that happened in school, and you're still gonna, like, be fine with him being dead because of a school grudge. No one should die. Like, no one deserves to be murdered by Voldemort. And it's like, people are just like, whatever, Snape's great. He still did the right thing in the end. But it's like, no, he didn't. Well, he did do a lot of good, but, like, he couldn't have cared less if James and Harry died as long as he got what he wanted and had Lily alive. That is just so selfish. And then when Dumbledore said it himself how disgusting and how evil and how vile that was, Snape decided that it was fine. But he still wouldn't have cared if Dumbledore would have let James and Harry die if Lily was still alive. And it was just really just horrible that he would get something like that. And it's just so stupid that people think that it's okay for somebody to think these things and or say these things. To think and act are totally different things. But Snape, like, totally wasn't good, and there was definitely a lot of good that the Marauders did have to the story, and people will get mad at a lot of characters for no reason just because of another character. I think it's going a little bit too far sometimes. And I think people need to understand that Snape wasn't 100% good, and they need to remember that he did things that are, in my opinion, just unforgivable. He never apologized to Neville. So to me, Snape is still not a good person because he never apologized for giving Neville so much trauma. And until I hear an apology from Snape to Neville, I don't forgive him. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. Awkward intro, outro.